Hey everyone, this is Brainwaves, and in this tutorial I'm gonna cover pretty much everything you need to know to make great build-ups. Let's get into it. Alright, so this tutorial is gonna consist of two parts. So first of all, I'm gonna break down every element of this build-up, and I'll go through how I did it, why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Then I will recreate a build-up for another song that I already finished, but I just deleted the build-up section and gonna do one from scratch just to show you how I approach the build-up creation, and you can see like in real time how I do things. So let's get started. So first of all, well, with build-ups, the main purpose of build-ups is just to create tension. So basically with build-ups, you just want to create the most amount of energy and hype basically before the bass drops. So there is a ton of ways to do that, and that's what I'm going to cover in this tutorial. So this first song is my song Fallout, which came out in Tribal Trap some time ago, and this is how it sounds. Alright, so that gives you an idea of what we are working with. So let's start. The first way that you can start creating tension is with drum loops and drum rolls. So for example, kick going faster and faster. Also notice that through this tutorial, you're gonna see that I use a lot of automations for my build-ups, just because first to create more tension, but also because build-ups sometimes have so many elements that they start getting louder than the drop, and that's not something that we want. We want the drop to be the most impactful thing in our song, so you don't want the build-ups to be louder than the drop. So some automations, they are also going to be for the purpose of getting things not so loud, and like taming the loudness of the build-up basically. So that's what this is doing. As the kick starts to get faster, I start to cut the low end, so it gets like this effect of vanishing or just disappearing over time, which adds tension, but at the same time is making the kick quieter and quieter. So that helps getting the build-up to not be so loud. So I have that kick roll in there, then same thing but with claps or snares in this case. And see, actually I'm also doing an automation in here of filtering. This time I'm opening the filter up. Then I have drum looping here that is opening up. This is a snare roll that I created and then I consolidated. Notice that these are not so loud in volume, like they are kind of in the background, but they definitely add. Just a top and percussion. This is how all the drums sound. So that's like one of the most common ways of starting a build-up, just doing like the drum rolls. Notice that I want to have some continuity from the section before into the build-up, so I'm obviously using the same drums. You just don't want to build up to be like disjointed from the rest of the song. You want every section to flow effortlessly. So that's for the drums. Just speeding up is basic, but is definitely effective and something that I always do. So next up, we have our instruments. In this part, you start, or in my case, I like to give a clue of what's coming up in the drop. And also I want to incorporate, as I said, the elements that I had in the intro. So for example, I have that synth in there, and now I'm gonna continue using it in the build-up. Same with this other one. Notice this automation in here, just making it disappear, but it's in there for sure. And now we get into the more like in the front elements of the instruments. So notice that this is starting very quiet, and then it gets progressively louder, and then at the end it gives like this melody, and then it goes into the drop. So we are getting the our brain and our ears familiar with the sounds by introducing them before. From the very first moment, I have like this 3 notes motif. Pum pum pum. And then I let it like completely finish at the end of the build-up. That's kind of satisfying for the brain, you know, like for this first 18 bars, you're hearing just like the first part. So when you give it like the whole melody, it gets like this effect of, okay, now it has a resolution basically. Fire! And now this relates to, it has kind of a similar note progression, so that definitely helps to make things flow better and to make things more cohesive. So this another patch is just doing the same as this one, but this one it has like the whole melody in the section. This is another clear clue of the drop. Notice how this is opening up. And now in the drop we get the full sound. So that for the main instruments, notice, as I said, all the automations in here. This is the low end starts to disappear in this one. In this one everything starts to shrink kinda. This is very subtle. Then in this one, filter starts opening up. This is like the most common approach, which is also very effective. And I think I may have some other automations in here. Yeah, I have a reverb automation. Notice how wet it is when I have this on, and how dry it is if I mute it. Then it starts to get less and less reverb until it's completely dry, and then the drops happens. Now we're about to finish with this track, and we'll move to the next one in a few. Just want to talk about like the fills, but this is like very standard. Like every build-up has like risers, like this one, and this one, this one. Sometimes I use a lot of risers, like in this case I'm using 3 or 4. Sometimes I just use 1 or 2. I also always use white noise automation, so it's just basically an operator with the noise white oscillator and just a filter opening up, that helps a ton. So besides that, I have like an impact in here. I have some ambience elements that are coming from the intro, and I'm using them in the build-up just to make things flow. And let's see what else. I resampled the delay of this vocal. Then I looped that little fresh vocal, and I have a little clue about the of the pre-drop vocal in here. Very simple, just opening up, and then fully sound at the end. And that's about it for the fills. It's nothing special, honestly. I don't have that much to say in this part. Just use impacts, risers, white noise, and have a good pre-drop vocal. I think that would be it for this one. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover, so let's jump into the another project. Now that we checked the build-up for my song Fallout, and we saw like the elements that I use for that, I'm gonna go ahead and make a build-up for this project that I have in here. So this is the section before where the build-up is gonna be. This is where the build-up is gonna be, and this is the drop. Okay, so as I said, this song is already done. I finished it already. I just deleted the build-up section just to create one from scratch, so you can see how I approach that process, the things that I do, how I do them. And yeah, this is gonna be like a quick example of how I make my build-ups. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start like from the drums. I have this intro kick in here that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna probably make like a basic speed up kick roll. Something important before I continue is that I already have like a pre-drop vocal planned. Is the same vocal that is going on here.
Pull up on the side. Pull up on the side.
So this is gonna be in the pre-drop.
Pull up on the side.
And I'm gonna open the filter completely.
Pull up on the side. Pull up on the side.
Okay, we are gonna keep that in there just as a placeholder right now. I may add more elements into the pre-drop, so yeah. You're gonna see that I'm gonna reuse a lot of these elements in purpose. Like I want to carry some elements of the previous section into the build-up. This is a stretch out, so we could use this at his normal speed. And then start making it faster. I may also modify some of these things as I go, you know, making decisions. Same thing, we could use this at double speed and use the same type of speeding up.
Pull up on the side.
We could use this sample, but as a one shot. Let's warp it. Speed it up. Basic build-up stuff. We could consolidate this. A lot of things in the build-up is pitching up things, and that's something that I actually didn't talk about in the previous project. But you will see me doing that, like pitching up things. Like for example, this. I normally pitch it up like 1 octave, so 12 semitones.
Pull up on the side.
You know, when you pitch things up like progressively, it definitely adds a lot of tension. I think I'm gonna. Is this one? Yeah, I'm just gonna use the first part. All right. Okay, so I think I'm gonna add this in here. This is all on legato right now, like every note finishes right when the other note is gonna start. So I'm gonna make this a little bit shorter. And then I'm gonna duplicate and start speeding up this part.
Pull up on the side.
So that's definitely giving like a clue of what's coming up next, because this melody is the same as this one. So that definitely adds a ton. since I erased the previous build-up that I made, there are some automations still, like this one that I was about to make, which is cutting the low end of this synth as it progressively approaches the end of the build-up. So I was gonna do that, but it's done in there. Let's keep going. I can copy this over, maybe use this melody in this leading here. Basically copy this whole pattern over and paste it in there. As I said, there are some automations already made since I already finished this track, and I just deleted the build-up section, but it seems that some automations stayed in there, probably because I have like this lock automation button enabled, but I anyways will guide you through what that automation is doing. So for example, I have in here this filter opening it up, same as these two automations of the low cut and high cut filters, basically opening up the sound as it progresses throughout the build-up. And then a gain automation just for more intensity, basically. Alright, let's jump into making like the fills, basically filling out the background. I always have like this white noise already in my template. Now I'm gonna create an automation with it. Alright, now let's add some fills and stuff like that. Also, let's see what we could still use from the previous section. This siren could be in here. I think a lot of this could carry on, just to have things in the background. Nice, that sounds a bit fuller. We can do it like this fade out kind of thing, just so things get quieter and quieter as the build-up ends. Also wanted to note that, well, once again, we still have some automations in here. So this is an automation that I made for the original build-up of the song. It's just a reverb automation, just to make things more intense. And another automation that I have is the sidechain automation of the kick. So as you see, I do manual sidechain. So every time the kick hits, I draw the volume automation. You can see that actually when I created the build up the first time, I did it like this and then like this. So basically like double the speed that I add. This is basically just to give a little bit of more room to the kick. As you see, it's not completely ducking like all the way down as it is in the drop. It is just ducking a little bit, and during the build up the sidechain starts to get less noticeable because the kick would do this.
up on the sidewalk.
So yeah, this way, the way that I did it originally, it adds more tension since the kick roll it's on a faster pace. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it like that. I also have this same sidechain automation in the synths group. This one is more noticeable. If you don't know how to do like this kind of fade out or decreasing shape in the automation, you just select the time, and then in this corner there is like this little spot, and you click and drag, and now you get like that shape. So that's how I did that basically. So now to finish, let's just add some risers in here. Just for time's sake, we could use the same ones that I used on the second build up. These ones are just basically samples that I have downloaded, or risers that I have created in the past, and now I just resample them and make them like a little sample pack of risers, and then I use them. So I have like this one, 2 from Excellent Sounds. This is like a sweep down and then a riser. And this another one, which is a normal simple riser. There is not much thought when it comes to risers. There is not much to think about. Just choose a nice riser that you like and drag it, and just adjust it to the length of your build-up, and that's pretty much it.
On the sidewalk.
This doesn't have any automation or anything. Then I could start teasing the pre-drop vocal in the build-up, like maybe in here, doing something like this.
Pull up on this, pull up on this, pull up on this, pull up on this.
I don't like that S at the end. Let me
pull up on this, pull up on this, pull up on this, pull up on this, pull.
And then maybe cut it in half.
Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up on the sidewalk.
With this automation. I could then do a couple of layers for the pre-drop vocal, just to not be so just one layer.
Pull up on the sidewalk.
Which is something that I did on the second build-up. So, for example, this one is 5 semitones up, and it is pitched to the right, and this one is 3 semitones down and pitched to the left.
Pull up on the sidewalk.
So again, just for time's sake, I'm gonna copy and paste them, but you can just see how that could be done really easily.
Pull up on the sidewalk.
And now I get a little bit of fuller vocal sample.
Pull up on the sidewalk. Pull up on the sidewalk. Pull up on the sidewalk.
And we're pretty much done. Let's see what else we could add in here. Maybe I could make this a tiny bit quieter, and there is one sound that I want to pitch up. I think it's this one. Yeah, this would sound better if I pitch it up. Transpose.
on the side.
That sounds kind of smoother for me. And now on the pre-drop vocal we could add like a little bit of Foley or something to make things more interesting. Exactly, something like this.
Pull up on the side.
It's just a little reverse thing in here, and let's see if we could use something in here. Maybe, yep, like an impact like that could work.
Pull up on the side.
Subtle, but adds to the, you know, to the feeling. And we could also put the kick of the drop in the pre-drop, maybe a little bit quieter.
Pull up on the side. Pull up on the side.
And we could do something like just to fill this little space where the vocal kinda ends and has like that pitch down effect. We could maybe do something like this. Something like that.
Pull up on the side. Pull up on the side.
Maybe with some reverb automation. This is a reverb send, so we could do something like this. Maybe make it a little bit quieter.
Pull up on the side.
I think that's pretty much it. That's how I would recreate this build up. Let's listen to it one more time.
Pull up on the side.
I think that's more than enough for this one. So that's pretty much it. So that's it for this one. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.